Welcome back everyone, Harry here, known as Straight Shop, and we have a lot to talk about today. We have a lot going on with Bitcoin, potential opportunities in Ethereum and Bitcoin, very interesting stuff. And on top of that, we're going to have a look at Alpha today, see if there's any opportunities there, but I'm definitely looking at some opportunities here in the major pairs. And with that being said, let's get straight into it. So yesterday I did have my rejection point here, but we wicked above it a little bit, and on top of that, then we rejected at some of these wicks, which is probably more relevant on the lower time frame, such as the 1 hour. We can see, yes, we did reject at this level here, and breaking down off that. So now that we have this pivot, we can move it to the 4 hour like so. And now we know if price was to put in a lower high and start closing above 58,000, first of all, I see it continuing up here, coming up and testing that 59,000. But on the other hand, we are closing below this. I will move this here like so now, and now we can see we have a nice range going on, right? And if we do take out this wick here, which I think now this can be irrelevant, this area here, although I am looking for bounces. If we do take out this wick or close a 4 hour below this pivot, then I do think that we come down and first of all test 55,900, and you can see I have a couple of alerts around in these areas just to see what price is doing. I'm looking at this whole area here to be a good basing option, maybe even 54.5, somewhere around this order block here. You see where all of this resistance, all of this messy price action is. Somewhere off here, I look for it to bounce. And I definitely do think we have a nice bounce coming off there. And I think that's a major opportunity. Looking at daily, yeah, taking out the wick, yeah, this is easy play. I always show you this towards the upside, taking out the, after red candle, taking out the wick, look at the extension. Same goes for the downside. And the downside extension we have all the way down to around here, which is 54. Yeah, so the daily is very clear to me. So 54, 400, definitely a bouncing area. So that's very interesting to see that. Now let's go and have a look at the weekly. What is the weekly looking like for a bouncing area? Weekly would actually take out its low and then we would get a play. Weekly not telling me much. Let's see if we can bring out the Bollinger Bands and see where they're situated. A backfill on the weekly would be around 55.8. So around that 54 to 55, bringing out Bollinger Bands. Let's go on the monthly. Let's see where that monthly is now. So the monthly Bollinger Band is coming in at 51,000, but that should rise with time and probably come around that 53, 54,000, which is a clear area. I want to have a look at CMEs, so let's take away these Bollinger Bands. Actually, I want to bring up the 50 moving average because this is a great basing option. 50 on the weekly. Where is the 50 coming in? Not on the week, sorry, it's the daily. And we've seen, yes, the okay. So this, every time prices bounces, as long as it's not closing below the 50, it's a great opportunity. And where's that 50 coming in? 54,000. And this is what, and right next to that pivot, right? This is what I was telling you about. So I'm definitely looking at this area as a major opportunity, but of course it's not financial advice. Uh, Especially those bounces off the 50 would be quite a generic easy play if you ask me. Looking at CMEs, let's have a look at CMEs, what CMEs are telling us. And CMEs also do have this gap here. Yes, we do have this gap, and right here. And where are CMEs coming in? And also on top of that, wow, this guys, this is interesting. Okay, on top of having this gap here, which is coming in at 54,000, you know, you can see that gap is at 54,000. And then on top of having that gap, it will also be a test of this trend line that we've been coming in from here. And I'm sure that is also relevant on Bitcoin. Yes, it is. If we can draw this trend line, all our drawings should. Why is my drawings not coming back? Oh, it's the wrong chart. There's all my, actually I will draw it on this chart, and if you can see this trend line coming in here, and where would a test be of that trend line if we were to have a candle pop down, like this, somewhere pop down here, then that could be a simple, test of the trend line, fill that gap, on top of hit the 50 moving average. A lot of confluence. Yeah, definitely keeping my eyes on this area here, definitely, right? Not financial advice, of course, but there is a lot of confluence and a lot of structure to this play. Now, in the short-term time frames, Let's have a look at what short term is telling us. We can take away these lagging indicators. We have, yeah, some downside. Looks like we do want to break momentum turning down, but very low on the 1 hour. 4 hour is down, has some space to move, so we might see a move pretty soon here. But I do think, yeah, we are having some more downside. I do think, of course, it's not going to be a straight down candle. I think we will get bounces along the way range here, and then eventually get that swipe, and this is what I'm looking for. If it just bounces here, there's not really a lot of space to manage risk. I mean, the manage risk here is like a 3%. I mean, I could do it, but at the end of the day, it's still a little bit risky. I'd rather it come lower and I start layering in, right? So that's what I'm looking at. Ethereum, on the other hand, has been leading. And if we look, yes, oh wow, guys, look at Ethereum hitting my target to the point exact, right? Unless have I drawn this in before? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I've drawn that. All right, so yeah, I think that this is something I've drawn. But guys, check out my videos and you tell me in the comments below if that resistance was there or is that one of my targets being hit. So now it looks like we are back testing old support, which is very good on Ethereum. I like to see that a lot. And we can move this pivot now, can be moved to here. And this can be moved to here. Let's see what weekly is looking like. Yeah, that looks about right. And yeah, let's go back on daily. This is looking good. We're testing old resistance here on the 4 hour. This seems to be. Yep, we're testing this old resistance here. If we do break it, we could swipe lower, but this is looking good. And if we do swipe lower, I still look that 1950 area as an opportunity on the daily. It's looking, yeah, it's looking quite good just to have. I mean, you could consider this as the test. I'm gonna draw a box around this like so. And you could consider this as the test. This we can start deleting and getting too much now. Uh, so these levels are now becoming relevant. And this is, yeah, I'll just say this is your range, right? A break above 200, 2078 take you back to all-time high. But if we break below, I am looking for a bounce at this 1950 area, and I see that as an opportunity as well, right? For sure, on Ethereum has been leading, but Ethereum is looking good. Momentum is down on the 4 hour. 1 hour will be way down there, so I expected probably a little bit of a bounce here. It's really low in here on the Stoke, so maybe a bit of a bounce here, and then maybe one more swipe down to fill in that test at 1950, and I see that as an opportunity here because simple retest of this area, and if we get a nice bounce from there, I look for this to continue up. uh, but there is still an opportunity and a potential after breaking this wick is that we come all the way down here to 1890 or 1922. It's always a possibility, and we have to keep that in mind because there's not really a good base here to manage risk on Ethereum, but still, good base, good opportunity. So now let's go and have a look at, yeah, we're getting that dump now. Look at this. If we break that wick, it will be, yeah, this will be deadly here if we break this wick. So see if that happens by the time we finish our altcoin analysis. So looking at alpha today, bit sideways action, rangy. Momentum is not where I like it to see, but I mean, it is still holding a high-low structure. Until that is broken, then I'm generally looking good. But yeah, very sideways bound. If you are holding this, I would watch this trend line like a hawk, and this is going to be a very clear indication of if we're going to see a breakout or break down. But obviously this pivot all the way down here, let me bring my, here we go, this pivot all the way down here is a very important pivot, and if we do break this pivot, then structure is definitely broken. But even before then, just breaking that trend line, I mean, you could put in something like this and consider that a fake out. And if we do break to the upside, then I do see it. So it isn't at a pivotal moment, right, on the daily. 4 hour on the other hand, yeah, you could see this as a fake out, guys. And we could have this type of formation forming, but I would like to see it form on a daily, right? And that's what you guys will have to watch. And if we do get this breakout confirmed on a daily, which, without a fake out, then this is looking generally good, right? I wonder how volume was doing during that fake out. Yeah, I mean, pretty decent. Not sure why that fake out happened, but I think second time round we should push through, right? If something keeps hitting a resistance, it will eventually break through or it will break to the downside. So we'll see how that plays out. Bitcoin having a tiny bounce now. Tiny, tiny, tiny bounce. Doesn't want to break through. It's being supported quite nicely by this 1 hour support, and that comes in, with the lows here that I was showing you on the Stokes being very low. That's why I expected a bounce. I bet this will put in some bullish divergence if I was to bring out an RSI, which we can even have a look. RSI, uh, where's your RSI? Nope, no bullish divergence, which is interesting. So yeah, maybe we just have a tiny bounce up here to this resistance and then sell down. But with that being said, I'll leave you with that. Take care, trade sharp, and until tomorrow.